YouTube channel. And if you're new here, my name is Kenny. I'm a K-pop content creator. That's K-pop content creations. And today I'm actually doing a new series that I'm really excited about that I hope you guys will really like. And it's more like a video essay, I guess. And it's not gonna be that long, so don't worry about that. I'm not gonna be, rambling on too much, hopefully. But I'm really excited to do this new series called Comparing Counterparts. So basically the rundown of it is I'm gonna take two groups, usually probably gonna be from the same company most of the time. And basically I'm gonna compare those groups. So more than likely it's gonna be second gen group or a third and fourth gen group. And I thought about this because I've been interested into K-pop in a long time, a long time. And I always looked at second gen groups. And so looking at the third and fourth gen groups coming after them, especially the ones that's in the same company, I always thought about like, oh, in my head, like it wasn't never competition wise, but in my head I always thought, I could see that was supposed to be so-and-so in this group. Or that was supposed to be so-and-so. And like, just kind of like comparing the counterparts. And I thought it'd kind of be interesting to do that in this type of scenario. So my disclaimer is, please don't think I'm trying to bash any of the groups, because every group I'm going to talk about, more than likely I'm going to be a fan of. And two, please don't be in the comments trying to like compare them in a bad way. This is basically just saying like, in a company, we all know certain companies have certain styles of groups that they want. And even if some people don't like to admit it, the second gen groups, especially if they were a really big deal, whatever company they're in, they're going to try to recreate that group, but with different people. Even if obviously the girls are different people, they have different personalities, but visually wise, what the company's going to try to portray them and what they're going to pick them as, they somewhat are going to try to recreate this group with a different set. So it's not like I'm comparing their attributes like of their real selves. It's honestly me comparing what each of the groups are supposed to be showing that the company wants them to relay to the audience. Something like that. So it's not me honestly comparing them. It's what the company itself is trying to do, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it's going to be really interesting. I really like it. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. As you can see by the title, I, of course, have to start off with the queens. And from the big three. And that is 21 and Blackpink. So I'm basically, the rundown that I'm going to do it is, I'm going to talk about when they debuted. I'm going to talk about how many members it was. I'm going to talk about their discography and overall concept of what they did. So I'm going to talk about the groups first, and then I'm going to separate it. I'm going to talk about individual members of their group and who I think the company tried to kind of replace them as. Like, I don't want to say replace in a bad way, but if you, honestly, I feel like if you were a K-pop fan for a long time, especially with second gen, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Like, things like that. So I feel like this was a great first start. I feel like this would be a great first episode because clearly, if you're into K-pop and you really know about back in the day, you know the infamous history of 21 and Blackpink. I will not be bringing that up. So many videos have been made about that. This is a simple, fun comparison. So enough of me talking. Let's just get on with the video. First, I'm gonna obviously talk about the queens.
It's been a long time coming, but we're here now.
21, and they are the queens of girl crush and hip hop style of K-pop, and they honestly introduced it, especially in a girl group. So 21 debuted in May 17, 2009, and they ended in November 25th, 2016. So they had a roughly 7.5 years since their name, which is really good for a girl group because you know about the 7-year curse. And the members, there are 4 members, as you all know: Park Boom, CL, Dara, and Miss Minzy. And they had 3 mini albums, 3 full albums, and 1 single. And the overall concept, like I said, they introduced this in a girl group way, was very hip hop and girl crush. The second group, Blackpink, they debuted in August 8, 2016. And they have not disbanded yet because they're still new. They're still, like, on top in their prime. And there were 4 members: Jennie, Jisoo, Lisa, and Rose. and pretty much their overall concept was hip hop and girl crush. The first member that we're going to talk about from 21, and we're going to talk about CL. And she was born February 26, 1991. She's now 29. Her position in her group, she was the leader, she was the main rapper, the lead dancer, the lead vocalist, and the face of the group. And what I feel like she represented in the group, or what the company wanted her to represent, was kind of like the fierce, fiery, unstoppable, very confident leader. And for solo activities, she has 8 singles, 1 mini album, 1 subunit with Minzy that was called CL and Minzy. She had 11 features. And a fun fact about her is she used to be a JYP trainee. And that was really crazy because I think I heard about that, but I always wondered how he would have marketed CL. So that was really crazy. So to her counterpart, Miss Jenny, she was born in January 16th, 1996. She's now 25. In her position, she was the main rapper, lead vocalist. Her representation in the group, which I feel like they are kind of, I don't know if I would say this would be the company doing this, but this most definitely is what the audiences love to do is, you know, they kind of call her like sexy, classy, kind of bougie, like that bougie cousin that only comes on certain type of family trips and family vacations or things like that, and they give out presents and they pretty much go about and do their own little thing. And for her solo activity, she has 1 solo and she's had 3 features. And a fun fact about her is she was the first to be revealed before debut, and she was the first one to have her own solo debut. Moving on to Miss Minzy. Minzy, she was born January 18th, 1994. She's now 27. And before I go on, it's just really crazy that she's literally only a year older than Jisoo, where I think about what if she debuted with Blackpink? Like, that would be so crazy. I know, obviously, that's impossible now, but I just think about what if back then she would have debuted with Blackpink? Like, that's just so crazy to me. Lisa and Minzy, killing it. But her position, she was the main dancer, lead vocalist, lead rapper, and she was the maknae. And I feel like her representation in the group was, obviously she was the dance machine, but I feel like since she was so young, she was like the fresh, young, spunky one that, like, you know, kind of had like all the energy because she was literally barely a preteen. And for her solo activities, she's had 2 singles, 2 OSTs, 1 mini album, 1 subunit with CL called CL and Minzy, and she's had 3 features. And a fun fact about her is, in October of last year, she launched her own agency called MZ Entertainment, which was so amazing for her. And her counterpart, Lisa, she was born March 27, 1996. She's now 23. Her position is she was the main dancer, just like Minzy, the lead rapper, just like Minzy, a sub-vocalist, and also the maknae, just like Minzy. And her representation was pretty much the same, where she was the dance machine, but I also feel like she really bridges international fans with Blackpink, because Blackpink overall is an international kind of K-pop group, but I feel like Lisa really brings in that international, not just with Thailand, but I feel like honestly with like Westerners, it's like Lisa, I feel personally, just because she really brings like that international feel. Her solo, she has been a mentor for China Idol Producer 3, and also a mentor on Youth With You seasons 2 and the upcoming season 3. So, also a fun fact about her is she was the only person to get accepted into YG in 2010 when there was an audition for YG in Thailand, and she was the only person ever to get accepted. And not saying people from Thailand aren't talented, but just to think that like Lisa is amazing, so it's like I understand why she got accepted. And now we're going on to the fresh faces of the group. So Dara, she was born on November 12th, 1984. Now she's 36. Her position was vocalist, sub-rapper, and a visual. I feel like her representation, especially in the beginning of one's career, was she was most definitely like the quirky one. Like, they gave her the crazy hairstyles. They gave her like the crazy big clothes when she was like the thinnest one in the group. Like, she was just really like quirky in the beginning, but she always had like this innocent youth to her. Even though she was the second eldest, it's just she really had this innocent glow about her where it was like impeccable. In her solo work, she has 1 single, 2 OSTs, 2 mini albums, and 4 features. And a fun fact about her is she released an album that became platinum twice, selling more than 60,000 copies in 6 months when she was in the Philippines. And on to Jisoo. She was born January 3rd, 1995. She's now 26. Her position is the lead vocalist and also the visual, just like Dara. Her representation, I feel like she's like silly and quirky, especially in their interviews. And I feel like since she was really the only one really born and raised in Korea, I feel like honestly, they like that's kind of like the Korean base. Like obviously Rose and Jennie are Korean, but since they grew up abroad and they're like more like, they're not so much Korean as much as Jisoo. I feel like Jisoo is really supposed to be like the Korean base of the whole thing, if that makes sense. The work that she has done was, she was an Inkigayo MC through 2017, 2018. She has 5 CFs. And a fun fact about her is, she actually is pretty good at speaking English. She just chooses not to because she's embarrassed, and she can very much understand what people say in English. It's just, I guess she's just a little embarrassed to speak in English just because she's probably not 100% comfortable. Last but certainly not least, I have Miss Park Boom. She was born March 24th, 1984, making her the eldest member. She's 36. Her position was the main vocalist. I felt like what they try to represent her as in the group, really on stage and stuff, was she was supposed to be the sexy one, because if anybody knows, and still to this day, honestly, she's always about the leg. She always about the short skirts, the short tops that's like dresses, but like cuts it off. And like she's with the short shorts, like she's always showing the leg. She's not the one that's most revealing, but it's just that since the legs are viewed so sexually sometimes, I feel like she was supposed to be represented as the sexy one. But when you see her in interviews and when you see her in the 21 TV show, all that, she had such a 4D personality where it's like, yes, she is sexy, don't get me wrong, but her personality most definitely outshines with her quirkiness. And for her solo activities, she has 3 singles, 2 albums, 1 OST, 1 sub-unit where her ex-label made Lee High when it was called Boom and High. She has 9 features. And a fun fact about her is she was rejected by SM one time. And before she actually got signed to YG, she was actually rejected for 3 years. And I think that's a good thing to show that basically it's like, no matter how many times you fall down, it's to get back up. And I really loved it. Like when I first heard that with Park Boom, I just really loved that, honestly. And it really made me like just appreciate her more, that she is so strong. And one other fun fact that I thought was just so funny to me is like her type, or one of her types, was Jay-Z. And that was just hilarious to me because Jay-Z is, I don't know. And also last from Blackpink is Miss Rose. She was born on February 11th, 1997. She's 24 at the time. Her position was the main vocalist as well as Park Boom, and also the lead dancer. And her representation, I feel like they represent her like as sexy, because if you notice on the stage outfits, they always clothe her the least. And I never understood why. Like, not saying Rose isn't sexy because I love Rose, but they really do clothe her like the least. Like, she always has the least amount of clothes on. But I also feel like if you see her in interviews, she's most definitely the girl next door. She has her guitar. It just seems like she'll be on her porch just writing songs. Like, it's just very much girl next door. Her solo activities is she has 1 single, hopefully coming soon, 2 cover songs, and 2 features. And a fun fact about her is her favorite number was 5. And her dad was way more into her auditioning for YG than what she was. Like, if you look at an interview, a couple interviews, she says how she wasn't really planning on auditioning for anything, but her dad was like, you're pretty much singing all the time, so I mean, you might as well audition. And she auditioned, and look where it got her. So it's honestly really crazy, like the luck of the draw. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you liked it. I don't know if a lot of people have been doing this. Like, I just always thought about this and I was like, I might as well make a video about it. I hope you guys watch to the end. I hope you guys comment, subscribe, click that bell notification down below if you want to see more of this face. And that's all I have for you guys today. So, bye.